The executive director of Israel's National Cyber Directorate was arrested this week in Las Vegas in a child predator ring sting. This guy works directly under Netanyahu, so of course he was allowed to go back to Israel. This post and the video are from his LinkedIn. Yeah, Tom Alexandrovich was the executive director at Israel National Cyber Directorate. The Nevada Internet Crimes Against Children joint operation included detectives and agents from the ICAC Task Force and the FBI's Child Exploitation Task Force, which includes the Metropolitan Police Department, Federal Bureau of Investigation, North Las Vegas, and Henderson Police Departments. Homeland Security investigations in the Nevada Attorney General's office, according to Metro News release. For the record, this is what I was talking about when I said, like, a lot of these departments are still tasked with, like, combating child predation, for example. Okay? This is them doing the thing that they're supposed to do. This is, like, the one function of the police that is a good thing, objectively, that I think no person other than straightforward lunatics would disagree with, right? Those arrested were David Wanacott Yankee, 40, Tom Artyom Alexandrovich, 38, Jose Alberto Perez Torres, 35, Anikesh Kumar Sadani, 23, James Ramon, da-da-da-da-da-da. They all faced felony charges of luring a child with a computer for a sex act and were booked into the Henderson Detention Center with the exception of Duncan, who was booked into the Clark County Detention Center. U.S. detains worker from Israel's top cyber defense agency for questioning. Prime Minister's office says incident resolved quickly, ending with brief questioning of National Cyber Directorate staffer before his release and return to Israel. That's right. Tom Alexandrovich, who is the executive director at Israel's National Cyber Directorate, was subsequently detained and swiftly released after being detained and investigated for trying to lure a child. I mean, what do you say? What do you say about this? What can you say about this? I mean, this is just like, what can you fucking say? Yeah, Felix says the same thing. He says, what can you even say at this point? Here's the full Ynet article. It says he was in Vegas and may have been arrested for his conduct. State and local authorities say these men were caught as a part of a sting and had attempted to lure what they thought were children online. That he was allowed to leave the country is utterly scandalous, okay? An employee under the Israel National Cyber Directorate operating under Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office was briefly detained for questioning during a professional conference in the United States where he was representing the state, Ynet learned on Wednesday. After his questioning, he returned to his hotel and flew back to Israel 2 days later. Israeli officials downplayed the incident, saying it carried no political implications and was resolved quickly. The reasons for the questioning remain unclear, but may relate to the employee's conduct. They're going to hold a press conference where the cops apologize for arresting him. They're going to give him the Congressional Medal of Honor and also give him several SSDs filled with stuff the FBI confiscated from non-Israeli pedophiles during the ceremony. You say one bad apple doesn't rot the basket, deflect. To be fair, hear me out. To be fair to Israel, okay? Jeffrey Epstein, not only dead, but also a lot of attention on him, okay? Someone's got to do it. What are they supposed to do? They've fallen on hard times, okay? Yeah, they're trying to put the team back together for one last job. To be fair to Israel is something I never thought I would hear Hassan say. Yeah, because I'm a Zionist, give it the program. Now, when you see stuff like this, and this association with Israel, okay, you understand exactly what's going on. You're like, America literally will treat Israel better than it treats its own citizens, blah, 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 right? The average person doesn't look at this and go, oh, it's because America plays a profoundly important role, or Israel plays a profoundly important role in like American foreign policy. And that's the reason why they've been able to, for the past 80 years, successfully implement a influence peddling operation and also lobbying efforts to implement in the minds of many Americans in positions of power, many Americans in general, that like Israel is so important, both from a theological justification for the Christian evangelical Zionists, which is a very important voting bloc in this country, unfortunately, and also anyone else that goes into like institutes of higher learning and learns that like Israel actually is good. Because if you ever talk bad about Israel, that means you're anti-Semitic and you're shut off from the conversation in its entirety. Like, they're not going to think about all that. They're just going to go, Jews are doing this. Okay, that's it. So when America behaves in this way, the American government behaves in this way, they literally are fucking doing, okay, this is Jewish conspiracies, I guess. Like, that's what most people fucking see. That's what most people see when they see this. This is what I'm talking about. When you got the government, when you got the Department of Homeland Security black bagging a green card holder and going, Shalom, Mahmoud, for the crime of reflecting the opinion of the broad majority of Americans that like Israel is doing fucked up things, most Americans, even racist ones, even Islamophobic ones, are going to look at that and go, what the fuck is happening, bro? It's crazy. It's like the David Duke shit of like ZOG, Zionist Occupied Government, which is like an alt-right terminology, right? This is like neo-Nazi shit, okay? Not like neo-Nazi, just directly neo-Nazi shit. It's the government basically saying, no, you don't understand. We are that. Like, we're doing that. We're doing that. We love that shit, okay? So, of course, people look to the likes of fucking Nick Fuentes in this process and go, well, that guy was right, I guess. Of course. Meanwhile, all of the fucking dumbass, quote-unquote, liberal Zionist institutions are too busy. Israel advocacy organizations are too busy fucking yelling at people like myself who have actively combated anti-Semitism their entire career and continue to do so to this day. And forms of bigotry across the board. All forms of bigotry, no matter what. That's it. Liberals are more invested in attacking people like myself, people on the left, than they are in combating the fucking fascist movement that is growing. They inevitably end up capitulating that fascist movement that is growing instead of counter-messaging against it, okay? And then especially when like right-wing attitude and right-wing sentiment is so normalized, yeah, the people that come across as more earnest in that messaging structure are going to end up getting pulled to the fucking top, okay? But go ahead. If you're a Jewish advocacy organization that is masquerading, or if you're an Israel advocacy organization that's masquerading as a Jewish advocacy organization, or a fucking civil rights movement or something, or a civil rights organization, and you're too predisposed with like yelling at Miss Rachel for saying you shouldn't kill Palestinian children, then you are also actively pushing American society in this direction. Good luck. Have fun with that. I've thought about that a lot, and I think they genuinely wish and prefer anti-Semitic pushback towards Israel as it justifies their worldview. Yes, exactly. They hate people like you the most because you pull their movement down in a way that makes sense. I know. If you're otherwise progressive, if you're progressive except for Palestine, you hear someone like myself, you're going to get a little one-shotted, okay? You're going to be like, wait a minute. I trust this guy on everything else. Let me hear him out here, okay? As I've jokingly said over and over again, even though it's not really a joke, I'm the one who makes Jonathan Greenblatt's nieces and nephews say fuck Israel. Nick Fuentes is never going to get Jonathan Greenblatt's nieces and nephews to say fuck Israel because Nick Fuentes is an anti-Semite. So he sees that, and that fucking terrifies him. It's the same principle behind Bill A. Packman, Bill Smokes Crackman, whose daughter went to fucking Harvard and became like an anti-Zionist socialist, you know? And that cracked his brain. Yeah, Bill Smokes Crackman.